I just want to say huge bravo to everyone who has participated and kept up with the continuous line selfie. Hi, cutie. Um, it is, it's relative, right? Oh, it's hard to do a daily drawing challenge. It's hard, but in the grand scheme of hard things, it's not that hard. It's just that dedication of showing up, which means showing up to yourself, right? It's not about showing up to me. It's not about showing up to any sort of rule or guideline. It's really about showing up to yourself. And there's something super powerful about doing a continuous line selfie because, first of all, a daily continuous line drawing, any sort of drawing on a daily basis, is going to propel you, is going to increase your skill, is going to encourage you to keep drawing more and taking bigger risks, right? The reason why I like to do a continuous line drawing challenge, not even a drawing challenge, just drawing, continuous line drawing, is that first of all, it helps me get out of my head. It helps me sort of break down the whole idea of perfectionism, especially as an urban sketcher where it is rewarded to have accuracy because a lot of the background is like architects and designers. And so that accuracy is really rewarded there in the urban sketching realm, right? And I am an urban sketcher and I like to do urban sketching, but I don't like the rigidity of like accuracy. I am much more into energy over accuracy, right? And so you've got energy over accuracy, and then you think about the idea of like trusting your line, right? Like the thing that I love about continuous line is like even when you think you have wrecked it, you can somehow recover it. Like here, for example, I drew this one of me. I think the prompt was laughing, and very quickly it got completely out of control, but I just kept going with it, and there was something, it's still insane, but there's something about it that really works, right? Because there's an energy. It's not accurate, and there's an energy to it, right? The energy of when you are full-blown laughing, it is a different energy than this, right? Look at this, and look at that. Whole different energy, right? So the idea of a daily continuous line practice, not just selfie, but just with anything, is to infuse energy, right? Infuse energy. I don't care about accuracy. Easier said than done. I like it when I kind of nail something, when I get right in there and like I can hit it and get something accurate, right? So I'm not trying to be like I'm some saint, because I'm not. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee. This saint's going to have a little sip of her coffee here. No, I'm not, but I find that with practice, and over time, it is easier for me to be more accurate in the things I am drawing. And it is not my goal to be more and more accurate. My goal is to be able to capture energy, and also, this is so good, I can't put it down. Also, I like the idea of being more efficient with my lines, right? This doesn't have to be your goal, but this is something that I like to work on, that I like to just be able to describe something with fewer lines. Let's see if I can even find something. Oh, probably the sleeping one. This is the last one I did, right? I drew the rosy dog and then went into, no, actually, I think I did my pillow first. So I started with my pillow, did my hair, did a sense of me sleeping, and then down into Rosie, right? And at some point I went up to the moon. So, well, it doesn't even matter. But what I'm trying to say here is like through the use of less lines, I'm trying to tell my story. Less lines. Now, that doesn't have to be your goal because you have your style and you are developing your way. I've seen some beautiful selfies and just drawings in general in our continuous line Zoom classes where it's not always about a continuous line, but there's a way to capture an energy. In our classes, we're doing drawings at 15 minutes, right? So there is something very addictive when you start doing drawings at 15 minutes. I personally have a hard time doing a 20-minute drawing. And I actually don't mind it because it just feels, yeah, something like last Saturday when I was in the Mercado, I spent like an hour drawing, and that was nice, but I don't always have an hour, right? Nor do I want to give an hour. So like in our Zoom classes, the whole thing is to do like figure out composition and storytelling from a photo prompt in 15 minutes, right? So one of the things we did is we went to Oaxaca with a jaguar, the Dios de Jaguar, there in Oaxaca, right? So I did that with my brush pen in 15 minutes. Oh my God. Wait, a day we were in Oaxaca. So here's a Oaxaca street scene. Oh, by the way, I'm doing a workshop with Felix Scheinberger in Oaxaca. So if you love doing color and crazy Mexican architecture. So yeah, there's the street scene in Oaxaca. And then we went to Peru. And there's a llama, a very colorful llama up there in Machu Picchu. Sometimes I feel like I use too much color and I wish I had stuck with lines, but whatever, I get another opportunity to do it. Here's another scene in Peru, right? The idea was to draw this group of people in one clump, right? Because look at, they are a lot of fabric. So yeah, there's a whole little cluster of a family in Peru, right? In continuous line. And then, oh my God, you know, I'm from Chicago, and on Memorial Day weekend, I always loved it because that's when they would open up the bridges and let the sailboats go out to Lake Michigan. So here's a little 15-minute rendition of the Chicago River when they're letting the sailboats out, right? And then getting some of those majestic skyscrapers behind it, right? And then, because, you know, the challenge of doing people, we do a lot of people. Here, if you know Chicago, you know Coco Taylor, right? So here's Coco Taylor at a blues club, right? And so the challenge here was to like get someone singing that doesn't look like they're a monster about to bite your head off, but it's a fine line. So anyways, so this week we went to Oaxaca, we went to Peru, and we went to Chicago. Home sweet home Chicago. Yeah, so... And then before we go to the cities, we do all these continuous line warm-ups, right? As a way to get out of the anxiety, out of our heads, out of that curse of perfectionism, right? So there's the continuous line warm-ups. There's a daily quick continuous line. Well, for this month, we've been doing selfies, right? The continuous line is a magical way to shake that perfectionism, that need, and oftentimes women have that, where we're just dogged by perfectionism, because there's that whole thing of like, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it right, and you're going to do it well, and you're going to be admired for it, right? Like my whole community, there's some men, but generally speaking, it's mostly women who you know, are trying to break the chains of what has been expected of them. You know, I don't have kids, I don't have family, I don't have anything. So I don't have a lot of those, like, I don't have a mortgage, I don't have a lot of those chains to de-shackle myself from. But I have my own chains, my own ways that have trapped my thinking and have held me back, and my own fears and lack of self-esteem, all these things, right? And so a continuous line helps me break through that, right? You know, because then I can go right back to judging myself after I do a little continuous line drawing. Stay safe out there. It's completely bananas out there. So do what you got to do to take good care, okay? See you next time. Bye.